Basically, women in America are currently ungrateful, but that's not all of them. There are good women out there. You just gotta look for them. And also, as a man, you gotta know your worth. If a woman is disrespecting you, then you need to kick her to the side, get rid of her as fast as you can, because you're worth more than that. God made man in the image of God. He also made woman in the image of God. So for anyone to treat anyone like a waste of space garbage is wrong. In the Bible, I don't even know where to begin. Basically, our culture right now, women are like super toxic and stuff, and they hate men and stuff. And like, it really affects my view of women. But like, so basically, I just seen this video on YouTube, and I don't even know where to even begin. It's just so rampant. I want the camera like facing me. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, what's wrong with women? In the Bible, the women in the Bible were wonderful and awesome. The women they were so great, and they loved their husbands, and they were modest, and they like Sarah, for instance. She called Abraham her Lord, and she loved him, and the wives were submissive to their husbands, and not only that, but the wives loved their husbands, and they were so awesome in the Bible. Like, the women in the Bible were like super awesome and amazing. Ruth, like the women in the Bible, like Ruth, she wasn't, or Esther. Esther is probably my favorite one. She wasn't, or even Mary, Virgin Mary. When the angel came to Mary and said, "You're going to be blessed among women," she didn't say, "Well, of course I am. Have you seen me?" She didn't say that. She didn't say that. When she was like, "How, my Lord?" and the angel said, "You're going to have a child," and all these things, she's like, "How can I have a child, seeing as I have not known a man?" And like, in this day and age, like, a woman to be a virgin is like a bad thing. It's crazy. It's like, back then, being a virgin, especially a woman, because I think that, like, men a virgin and women virgin, I think being a virgin is important, but it's more important for women to be virgins than men. This is objectively true. This is not like because I'm a sexist, misogynist pig. A woman's virginity is more important. Now, I'm a virgin, but I'm not saying that, like, you're supposed to wait till you're married before you have sex. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. But the reason why a woman's virginity is more important is because if a man, let's say, if a man sleeps with multiple different women, that's bad. But if a woman sleeps with multiple different men, who's the father going to be? That's one of the most important things, is who is the father going to be? Because this is why a woman's virginity is so important. Because if a woman was a virgin on her wedding night, and you guys sleep together, and she gets pregnant, you have a baby, it's guaranteed the baby is going to be your baby, because you're the only one she's been with. That's the main reason why a woman's virginity is more important than a man's virginity, is because if a woman has a baby, one thing is certain: they know who the mother is. If a man has a baby, well, they know who the mother is, you know, or something. Right, they know who the mother is. They don't know who the father is. So it's like, that's the thing. That's why a woman's virginity is more important, because if a woman is a virgin, when you marry her and you sleep with her, when she gets pregnant, she's a baby, it's be your baby. That's why a woman's virginity is more important. Now, I mean, again, man's virginity is important, woman's virginity is important. You're both supposed to be pure, obviously. And purity was a thing in the Bible. It was such an important thing. Everyone was like, oh, purity. Women in the Bible were put to death for being whores. Or at least there was the death penalty for adultery. They were still supposed to be stoned with stones. And this is not to, I don't know, this was not discriminating against women. This wasn't like a bad thing. It was to put out the evil from Israel. It was to put out the evil, because if the women, basically, if women go sour, They turn the men sour if the men aren't already sour. And then you just have everyone and everything sour and sinful. And so basically in the Bible, people cared about purity not because the penalty for being a whore was death, but they cared about purity because it was pure. That's what it was. It was just pure. So that's why they cared about it. And in our society today, it's like it's not a thing. Like if a woman hasn't slept with like 10 guys, people like, our culture looks at her funny, like, what? And the thing is, I see all these videos on YouTube about these women acting promiscuous and my hair. All these women acting promiscuous and stuff and sleeping with 50 dudes and stuff, and it's like, it's wrong. It's an abomination. I just seen a YouTube video where a guy asked a girl, is it wrong for a guy to like, so there's a girlfriend and a boyfriend, and a guy asked the girl, is it wrong for a guy to like other women's bikini pictures on Instagram? And the woman says yes. It's disrespectful for her boyfriend to like other women's bikini pictures on Instagram. And then he asked the woman, then is it disrespectful to the boyfriend for her girlfriend to post bikini pictures on Instagram? So it's wrong for other, and she said no, it's not, it's different. And it's like, you're saying it's wrong for men to look at other women. Not anything implied with that, just to simply look at them. You're saying that's wrong. It's wrong for men to look at other women. But these women will post bikini pictures of themselves on Instagram. Like, who are they doing that for? And they've got boyfriends too. So who are they doing that for? They're doing it for guys. Like, why? They wouldn't do this for a girl. They would do this for guys. So women are trying to get the attention of other guys. And then when guys give them their attention, then they say, ew, pervert, gross. It's the most insane, backwards, inverted logic. But it's not logic, it's just insanity. We're just living in a perverted culture. That's all that is. If I was offering free food to people, and then I complained that people like took me up on the offer, that's what that's like. There's like an event going on up here. I wonder what it is. I don't know. I kind of don't want to go through it. Should I just go through the middle of it, or should I walk around it? I don't know. Well, I could just pause the video, I guess, and see what it is. I'll just pause the video. It was a pride thing. They're doing like a pride thing at the park. Oh well, there's not a whole lot of people, so that's fine. But it's also almost like 2 o'clock, so maybe the event's over. I don't know. Either way, it's a pride thing. I already told you what I think about the LGBT in the previous walk. It's a cult. But I don't know. That's, you know, if it was a whole bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses gathered around, what am I going to do? I don't know. Tell them all it's a cult? Maybe in the future. I just don't want to do that right now. But as I was saying, so basically, men and women standards. The women are so basically there's this other thing where it's like, the women complained that if a man slept with 50 women, that was bad. And then the women, to make like gender equality or something, the women ended up sleeping with 50 dudes and then saying that was fine because it was equal or something. Actually, they didn't really, they just kind of do stuff without really thinking about it. Because they say that when a man slept with 50 women, that was bad, but now they have a woman sleeping with 50 men, and they're saying that's not wrong. And it's like, if it was wrong when the man did it, why would it not be wrong when the woman did it? And then the other thing is, there are certain aspects of it that they're not accounting for. For instance, if a man was able to sleep with 50 women, that would be harder to do than a woman trying to sleep with 50 men. And that's the other thing. So like, basically these feminists, they're wrong about everything. In terms of like everything, they're just wrong about everything. Even when they're right, they're still wrong. Like when they're right when they say that it's wrong for a man to sleep with 50 different women, because it is. God made God made man and woman to be in a relationship, not multiple men or multiple women, but it's supposed to be one man and one woman in marriage, and they're never supposed to get divorced. Divorce is evil. It's not supposed to. God never intended for us to get divorced. It's not what He intended. So back to my point. If a man, so it is wrong for a man to sleep with 50 different women for that reason. But it is harder. It's technically harder for a man to get with a whole bunch of different women than it would be for a woman to get with a whole bunch of different men. And this is for obvious reasons. Because it's just for obvious reasons. It's just harder. It's a harder thing to do. So in terms of value, if it was super easy to do, then it wouldn't be worth as much. So like if the women thinking that, oh, if I sleep with 50 different dudes, I'm like a high value woman. And if a man sleeps with 50 different women, you think, well, he's a high value man or he's equal or something. But he's not, because if a man was able to do that, he would technically have done something that is much more difficult to do than for a woman to sleep with 50 different guys. It's still wrong either way, but it's like, it doesn't, however you look at it, these people are just wrong. It doesn't matter however you look at it. The other thing is, just the whole feminism thing it's messed with my head. My own perception of women, but I've become aware of it. Like I've realized it because I read the Bible. And when I read the Bible, the women in the Bible are not like the women of our culture. The women in the Bible were about purity and charity. The women in the Bible, like they would actually, so Rebecca, Isaac's wife, Abraham sent his servant to go find him a wife, and he was able to. And then he found Rebecca, and his servant said, okay, he prayed to God and said, okay, God, if my master Abraham has been faithful, and if you want his son Isaac to have a wife, please help me to find him a wife. And then then Abraham sent his servant off. I forget the guy's name. I don't even know if it says his name. But Abraham's servant, he sent him off. And the guy had like tons of camels and gold and jewelry and all sorts of stuff. Hello. And he sent him with all these camels with all this stuff on it. And he went to this town and he brought all his camels. He had tons of camels. And went to this town and he said, okay, God, let the woman whom you choose for my master's son, Isaac, let the woman come out and offer me something to drink. And then as soon as I think before he'd even finished praying, what ended up happening was this woman, Rebecca, she'd seen the guy's 10 or 12 camels, and she came out and offered him a drink, just the man. And he said, thank you. And then she, of her own, he didn't ask her to do this. He asked her for a drink, and then she got him one. So that's amazing. And then she, of her own free will, for free, because the Bible doesn't say he offered to pay her or that she expected to be paid, she, of her own free will, went and fetched water from the well and gave drink to his 12 camels. So she's running back and forth to get buckets of water, going to the well to get the water, run back over to where, I guess the camel, I forget what it's called, the thing that you pour the water in for the horses and camels and stuff to drink. What's that called? I forget. The stall? Drinking stall? Whatever that thing is called. And she did this for 12 camels. They drink a lot, so she was busy. She did this by herself solo. She didn't expect anything in return. She didn't ask for anything in return. And she did this amazing, wonderful thing. And the guy was blown away. And the thing is, he held his peace. When this girl was Rebecca was doing all these things for his servant, he held his peace. He didn't say anything. He just watched her as she's running back and forth, getting water for his camels. And then at the end of it, he told her, oh my gosh, God has answered my prayers. He has found a wife for my master's son. And he is so happy. He's stoked. And he told the woman, and he said, like, who are you? What is your name? Where's your father? And she said, my name is Rebecca, and and he took him to his dad. Says, I prayed this, and he said, guys, I prayed this prayer that if I could find my master's son a wife, let her do this thing. And before I had even finished praying it, Rebecca came out and did exactly the thing. Someone said something. And she did exactly the thing. And he was so amazed, and he was like, oh my gosh. And then they told her, and then he said, okay, they asked Rebecca, do you want to go with this man to be his master's son's wife? Because the servant was wanting to take her immediately, because he said that if God has prospered my journey, let me not delay. So he wanted to take her immediately. Hey. And the family asked Rebecca, they asked the daughter, they said, do you want to go with this man? And she said yes. And then she went. And then she married Isaac, and then the rest is history. My point is with that story is, if I asked a woman to get me a drink of water in this modern age, what would she tell me? Get it yourself. Or how much you pay me. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, where's the purity? Where's the charity? Where's the selflessness? Where's just, I don't know, doing nice things for people? These women, you ask them to do anything, and they're like, I ain't your slave. And this woman was willing to do, not just get this man a drink, because the man asked, Abraham's servant asked this woman, Rebecca, for a drink for himself. She decided that I'll get drinks for not just you, but all 12 of your camels. I will, of my own free will, without pay, without expecting anything, without wanting anything, I will run back and forth of my own free will. I tire myself out just to help a stranger. And it's like, women in this day and age, they don't do that. The idea, you ask a woman to make me a sandwich, and they feel like they're being oppressed. They feel like the whole world is ending. It's like, oh my gosh, how could, I ain't your slave. And so I see all these videos on YouTube of these women complaining how they ain't no slave, and my man's got to be 6 foot tall and 6-pack abs, and he's got to be rich, or I'm not going to get him nothing. And then even if a man has all these things, and even if a man gives this woman everything, she's still ungrateful. So it's not what the man, it's not what the man can bring the woman or provide for the woman. It's really, internally, it's the woman's character. What kind of character does she have? Because a woman with a humble, meek character, you could give her, I don't know, nothing, and she'd be grateful for what she did have. Like, they're just like, are basically the woman of our culture in America today, they're just ungrateful. And the women in the Bible were grateful. And even though all I see are ungrateful women, yet because I've read the Bible and I believe the Bible is true, I know that grateful women exist. So even though I want to get so angry at women, I want to be bitter against women, but I do believe the Bible, and the Bible says that It's not that women are the problem, it's just that women with bad characters are the problem. And so the solution is just if there's a woman with a bad character, then just don't make her your wife. Just find a woman with a good character. Is that rare? Yes. But that's honestly, how else would it be? The Bible says it's better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman. So basically, women in America are currently ungrateful, but that's not all of them. There are good women out there. You just gotta look for them. And also, as a man, you gotta know your worth. If a woman is disrespecting you, then you need to kick her to the side, get rid of her as fast as you can, because you're worth more than that. God made man in the image of God. He also made woman in the image of God. So for anyone to treat anyone like a waste of space garbage is wrong. Men are not expendable, neither are women. And so we ought to love and respect each other, and that's how we're supposed to be.